The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council fell silent as the human delegation entered. Captain Eliza Chen walked with confidence, her blue uniform standing out among the formal robes of the alien representatives. Behind her followed her crew. Maya Rodriguez, the chief engineer with tools still hanging from her belt. Jackson Wei, tactical officer who studied every corner of the room. And Professor Imani Okafor, who smiled at the confused aliens. The Grand Arbiter, a tall being with gray skin and 6 eyes, looked down at the humans from a high platform. "Welcome, humans, to the center of galactic civilization," the Arbiter said. "After observing your species for centuries, we have decided to offer you the honor of probationary species status." Captain Chen raised an eyebrow. Probationary status? That sounds limiting. The aliens whispered among themselves. No species had ever questioned the honor of council membership before. "It is the way all new species join our peaceful galactic community," explained a small blue alien to the left of the Arbiter. "You must understand, your technology is quite primitive compared to ours." Maya Rodriguez laughed at this. Just yesterday, she had fixed their station's power grid in minutes, using solutions their engineers had never considered. The Arbiter waved a long-fingered hand, and a hovering robot brought forward a thick stack of papers. "Simply complete this 10,000-page application. Then you will begin the 50-year observation period." 50 years? Jackson Wei asked, not hiding his shock. "A mere moment in galactic time," said the Arbiter. "Your species is young and impulsive. You require guidance." Captain Chen stepped forward and flipped through a few pages of the application. Questions about controlling human creativity, limiting Earth's industrial output, and surrendering key technological patents filled the pages. "And if we choose not to apply?" she asked. The chamber went completely silent. The concept seemed to shock the council members. That is not done," stammered the Arbiter. "All species seek council membership. It is the only path to galactic acceptance." Chen smiled. "Interesting. You know, we humans have a saying. Rules were made to be broken. But these rules have maintained peace for 50,000 years," protested a red-skinned counselor. "And yet, we arrived here in a ship your scientists said was impossible to build," Chen replied. "Perhaps it's time for some new ideas." The Arbiter's 6 eyes blinked rapidly. "You cannot simply ignore council authority." Captain Chen handed the application back to the robot. Then she did something that would change galactic history forever. She laughed, loud and clear, directly in the Grand Arbiter's face. "That's adorable," she said. "But no thanks. We'll chart our own path among the stars." As the humans turned to leave, Professor Okafor whispered to Chen, "They look like they're about to explode." "Good," Chen replied. "Maybe it'll shake up a galaxy that's been asleep for too long." Behind them, the council erupted into chaos as the human delegation strolled casually back to their impossible ship, leaving the application untouched and a 50,000-year-old system of control suddenly in question. Ambassador Ziltor smoothed his silver robes as he boarded the human ship Audacity. The council had sent him to make the humans understand their mistake. No species had ever refused council guidance before. "Your ship violates 17 safety protocols," Ziltor said, looking around with 4 nervous eyes. "How it functions at all is concerning." Captain Chen smiled. "Yet here we are, moving faster than any council ship. Interesting, isn't it?" Ziltor frowned. "The council has perfected space travel over thousands of years. Your improvised methods are dangerous." In the engine room, Engineer Maya Rodriguez was studying the small council shuttle that had brought Ziltor to their ship. She ran her hands over the smooth metal of its engine. "This design is so clean," she said, "but why route the power this way? It creates a bottleneck." Ziltor looked offended. "That is the standard design approved by the Council's Technology Committee 3,000 years ago." Maya grabbed her tools. "Mind if I show you something?" Before he could object, she began making adjustments to his shuttle's engine. Her hands moved quickly, connecting wires in new patterns and adjusting the flow regulators. This is highly irregular. Seal Tor protested. Unauthorized modifications are forbidden. Captain Chen crossed her arms. On your ships, perhaps, but this is a human vessel, and we encourage creativity. 2 hours later, Maya stepped back from the engine with a satisfied smile. There. Test it now. When Seal Tor activated the shuttle systems, the power readings jumped by 43%. The engine hummed with new energy while using less fuel. Impossible, he whispered, all 4 eyes wide. Not impossible, Maya said. Just never tried before. Later, in the ship's meeting room, Ziltor's hands trembled as he sipped from a cup of earth tea. You don't understand what you're doing, he said. The Council maintains order. Without our guidance, chaos would spread across the galaxy. Or perhaps innovation would spread, said Professor Okafor, joining them. Tell me, Ambassador, why does the Council limit technology for newer species? Ziltor looked uncomfortable. For safety, of course. Or for control, Captain Chen suggested. A message alert beeped on the ship's communication system. Lieutenant Wei checked the screen and whistled. Captain, we're getting signals from 3 other probationary species, he said. They've heard about our meeting with the Council. They're asking how we built our FTL drive. Ziltor stood up suddenly. Sharing restricted technology is forbidden. The consequences would be severe. Captain Chen smiled. There you go with rules again. The problem with rules, Ambassador, is that they only work when people agree to follow them. As Ziltor hurried back to his shuttle, he sent an urgent message to the Council. The human problem is worse than we thought. They aren't just refusing guidance. They are inspiring others to do the same. In the Council's Grand Chamber, the Arbiter read the message with growing alarm. For the first time in thousands of years, the carefully maintained order of the galaxy faced a real threat, a species that laughed at rules and inspired others to question. This is unacceptable. The Grand Arbiter's voice echoed through the Council chamber. These humans must be contained before they disrupt the entire galactic order. The 17 elder species of the Council argued loudly. Most wanted immediate action against Earth, but the oldest members, the Zixari, remained quiet, watching with their ancient eyes. Finally, one Zixari named Vextal spoke. Perhaps we should observe these humans further. Their creativity might benefit us all. Benefit, shouted a red-skinned counselor. They improved our technology without permission. 5 probationary species have already requested the same modifications. Meanwhile, aboard the Audacity Lieutenant Jackson Wei made a troubling discovery. Captain, look at this, he said, pointing to his screen. I've detected hidden satellites around Earth's solar system. Captain Chen frowned. Council technology. Yes, they form a containment grid. Any ship trying to leave our system would be stopped or destroyed. Professor Okafor shook her head. So much for their peaceful guidance. Wei smiled suddenly. I have an idea. These satellites communicate on standard Council frequencies. If we reprogram just one. What are you thinking, Lieutenant? Asked Captain Chen. Instead of containing us, we could use their own technology to build Earth's first interstellar communication network. For 3 days, Wei worked with Maya Rodriguez on the plan. They built a small stealth probe and launched it toward the nearest satellite. If the Council discovers what we're doing, they'll send ships, warned Okafor. Let them come, said Chen. The probe reached the satellite and attached itself. Maya's program began rewriting its systems. One by one, the containment satellites changed their function, creating a network that connected Earth to distant star systems. Suddenly, alarms sounded. 3 Council enforcement ships approaching. Called Y. They call themselves Pax Galacta. The lead Council ship sent a message. Human vessel, power down immediately. You are interfering with Council security systems. Captain Chen smiled. Lieutenant Wei, show them what happens when they try to cage humans. Wei activated his program. The reprogrammed satellites created a web of energy that surrounded the Council ships. "What is this?" demanded the Council commander. "Your own technology," replied Chen. "Working the way it should, instead of how you limited it. You're not being destroyed, just held in place while we finish our work." On the Council station, the Arbiter received an urgent message. The humans had not only disabled the containment grid, but had reproposed it entirely. "Impossible," he shouted. "Those systems are secure." The Zixari counselor, Vextol, made a sound like quiet laughter. "It seems the humans don't recognize the concept of impossible." Reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Other young species were watching what the humans had done. Some were beginning to question their own containment systems. "The humans must be stopped," the Arbiter declared. "We will blockade their entire system and make an example of them." But as the Council prepared for action, Earth's new communication network lit up with messages from dozens of worlds, all asking how they too could break free from Council control. The human rebellion had begun. The Grand Arbiter's message to Earth was clear: submit to Council authority immediately or face consequences. The United Earth government met in emergency session. Some leaders wanted to apologize to the Council. Others suggested preparing for war. "Neither option seems wise," said President Amara Singh. "We need someone who understands both humans and aliens." All eyes turned to Professor Imani Okafor, Earth's top expert on alien cultures. "Professor Okafor," said the President, "can you negotiate with the Council?" Okafor smiled. "I can do better than that. I can show the galaxy the truth." 2 days later, Professor Okafor arrived at the Council station in a small diplomatic vessel. Captain Chen and the Audacity waited nearby, ready to help if needed. The Council chamber was packed with representatives from all member species. The Grand Arbiter looked down at Okafor with 6 cold eyes. "Has Earth come to accept our authority?" he asked. "We've come to talk openly," Okafor replied. Then she pressed a button on her wrist device, and by openly, I mean with everyone watching. Screens throughout the chamber lit up. Okafor had hacked into the Council's communication system. Every species in Council space could now see and hear the meeting. "What is the meaning of this?" demanded the Arbiter. "Transparency," said Okafor calmly. "If the Council truly works for the benefit of all species, why fear others hearing our discussion?" She walked to the center of the chamber and began speaking directly to the cameras. "For thousands of years, the Council has claimed to guide younger species for their own good. But the truth is different." Okafor displayed documents that Maya and Wei had discovered in the Council's own databases. They showed how the Council had deliberately suppressed technologies, kept species divided, and prevented true progress. "The Council doesn't want partners," Okafor explained. "They want obedient children who never grow up." The chamber erupted in angry shouts. The Arbiter pounded his staff for order. "This broadcast is unauthorized. Guards, remove her." But it was too late. Across the galaxy, species were watching. Messages of support flooded Earth's new communication network. The Arbiter tried a different approach. "Even if what you say is true, Earth stands alone. The Council controls the largest fleet in the galaxy." Okafor smiled. "Does it? Lieutenant Wei, please show them." On the screens, new images appeared. 5 different alien ships using human-designed FTL drives. "We've shared our technology with other species who wanted freedom," said Okafor. "We don't seek to rule like the Council does. We seek partnership." The Council representatives looked at each other in shock. Their monopoly on advanced technology was broken. "This means war," growled the Arbiter. "It doesn't have to," Okafor replied. "We invite the Council to join a new kind of galactic community, one where all species contribute equally." As she walked out of the chamber, messages continued pouring in from across the galaxy. Species that had been silent for centuries were finding their voices. On the Audacity, Captain Chen watched the broadcast with pride. "Well done, Professor," she said quietly. "The galaxy will never be the same." The Council's patience had run out. In a private chamber, the Grand Arbiter addressed Commander Vex of the Pax Galacta. "Make an example of the human colony on Proxima Centauri," the Arbiter ordered. "Show the galaxy what happens to those who defy us." Commander Vex bowed. "It will be done." 20 Pax Galacta warships surrounded the small human colony. Only 2,000 people lived there, mostly scientists and engineers working on terraforming the planet. Dr. Quaint Mensa, the colony director, received the message from the Council fleet. "Human colony, surrender immediately. Your illegal settlement will be dismantled, and all colonists return to Earth for re-education." The other colony leaders looked at Dr. Mensa with worry in their eyes. "We have no weapons," said his assistant. "We're scientists, not soldiers." Dr. Mensa looked out the window at their terraforming equipment. "Maybe not. But we have something better: human creativity." For 6 hours, the colonists worked frantically. They modified atmosphere processors, mining drills, and weather control systems. When Commander Vex sent his final warning, Dr. Mensa finally responded. "That's admirable, but no." Vex was confused. "You have no defenses, no ships, no choice." "There's always a choice," replied Mensa. "Here's ours." Suddenly, the colony's terraforming towers activated. They weren't weapons, but the colonists had reprogrammed them to create massive electromagnetic pulses. 3 Pax Galacta ships lost power immediately. Mining drills, now pointing skyward, fired concentrated sonic blasts that cracked the hulls of 2 more ships. Commander Vex was shocked. "How is this possible? They're using terraforming equipment as weapons." The Council ships started firing, but the weather control systems created dense fog and electrical storms that scattered their targeting systems. "Form a standard attack pattern," ordered Vex. "Follow protocol." But that was the problem. The Pax Galacta only knew how to fight one way, the Council's way. They couldn't adapt to the humans' unpredictable tactics. Still, the colonists were outnumbered. Slowly, the Council ships pushed forward. Buildings began to collapse under their fire. Dr. Mensa sent an emergency message to Earth. "We're holding, but not for long." Captain Chen received the message on the Audacity *. "Change course to Proxima Centauri, maximum speed." But they were days away. The colony wouldn't last that long. Then Lieutenant Wei shouted, "Captain, we're getting signals from all directions." On the view screen, ships appeared, vessels from Earth, but also ships from 5 other species, the ones who had joined humanity's alliance. "They're all heading to Proxima Centauri," said Wei. "They're answering the colony's call." In the colony, Dr. Mensa watched in amazement as the sky filled with ships of different designs. They engaged the Council fleet surrounding them. Commander Vex received a message from a Nexari captain, whose species had been under Council control for centuries. "The humans taught us we have a choice too," said the alien captain. "We choose freedom." The Council fleet, surprised by the united response, began to retreat. On ships and planets across the galaxy, the news spread. Humans had stood against the Council's military might and won. With help from their new allies, they had shown that the Council wasn't invincible after all. The revolution was growing stronger. Maya Rodriguez looked around the abandoned mining station with satisfaction. Hidden in an asteroid belt between 2 uninhabited star systems, it was perfect for their needs. "Welcome to Workshop Zero," she announced to the group of engineers from 6 different species. "The first place in the galaxy where technology has no limits." The aliens glanced at each other nervously. All their lives, they had followed the Council's strict rules about technology. "Is this not dangerous?" asked Ziv, a blue-skinned Tellarite with 4 arms. Maya smiled. "Growth always involves some risk, but staying trapped in the Council's technological prison is the greater danger." For 3 weeks, they worked together day and night. Maya taught the alien engineers how humans approached problems, not by following established patterns, but by questioning everything. "The Council tells you there's only one way to build an engine," she explained. We see 1,000 possibilities. Soon, they began creating improved versions of standard council technology, engines that used half the fuel, medical scanners with triple the accuracy, communication systems that couldn't be monitored. We'll share these designs freely, Maya told them. No patents, no control. That's the human way. Meanwhile, Captain Chen and the Audacity played a dangerous game of hide-and-seek with the Pax Galacta across Council space, drawing attention away from Workshop Zero. In the Council's secure chamber, the Grand Arbiter received disturbing reports. Modified technology is appearing everywhere, reported a security officer. Ships from 20 different species are using engines that don't follow our approved designs. Find the source, demanded the Arbiter. We're trying, but the designs keep changing. As soon as we identify one modification, 3 more appear. The Arbiter turned to the other council members. We must use the Harmony Protocol. The chamber went silent. Even the most hardline council members looked shocked. The Harmony Protocol has not been activated in 5,000 years, said one elder. It would reset technology across 1/3 of the galaxy and cause countless deaths, added the Zixari representative. Many worlds depend on advanced technology for survival. Better some die than the Council lose control, the Arbiter replied coldly. On Workshop Zero, the team celebrated their latest success, a power source that worked on principles the Council had declared theoretically impossible. Suddenly, alarms blared. A message from Earth appeared on their screens. The Council is activating something called the Harmony Protocol, President Singh warned. Our spies say it's some kind of technology-destroying weapon. Maya looked at her alien colleagues. For the first time, she saw real fear in their eyes. What can we do? Asked Ziv. The protocol was built by the founders of the Council. It's said to be unstoppable. Maya thought of Captain Chen, who had laughed in the face of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Nothing is unstoppable, she said, already sketching ideas on her tablet. Especially not for people who refuse to accept limitations. She sent a message to every ship and colony in their growing alliance. The Council wants to reset our technology. Let's show them what happens when they try to turn back the clock on human innovation. The greatest challenge of the rebellion had begun. The news of the Council's Harmony Protocol spread quickly. Species that had been watching from the sidelines could no longer stay neutral. One by one, they began to join what was now called the Free Systems Alliance. Professor Imani Okafor stood in a large meeting hall on a neutral space station. Around her gathered representatives from 27 different species. Some were ancient races that had been denied full council membership for thousands of years. Others were young civilizations like humanity. We welcome you all as equals, Professor Okafor said. Unlike the council, we don't believe older means wiser, or that any species should rule over others. This idea shocked many of the aliens. They had always lived in a galaxy where power flowed from the top down. But surely humans wish to replace the council as leaders, said a tall, insect-like representative. Why else challenge their authority? Okafor smiled. Because it's the right thing to do. Freedom isn't just for humans, it's for everyone. She unveiled a new form of galactic government. Instead of the Council's pyramid with elder species at the top, Okafor proposed a circle where all had equal voice. We call it the Free Systems Alliance. Each species contributes what they do best. Humans offer innovation. The Nexari bring their knowledge of biology. The Zixari share their ancient wisdom. As they discussed the details, alarms suddenly blared. The station's screens lit up with warning messages. Council ships approaching, announced the station's security officer. They're demanding we surrender all representatives for arrest as rebels. 5 Pax Galacta warships surrounded the station, their weapons powered up. Surrender or be destroyed, came the order from the Council commander. The representatives looked at each other in fear. Many had never directly opposed the Council before. Then something unexpected happened. Ships appeared from all directions, vessels from every species at the meeting. They positioned themselves between the station and the Council warships. The commander of a Tellarite ship opened a channel to all vessels. The humans taught us something important. We are stronger together than apart. A Nexari captain added, "For too long, the Council kept us divided, making us compete for their favor. No more." The Alliance ships formed a protective barrier around the station, each defending the others regardless of species. The Council commander hesitated, then ordered his ships to withdraw. They had expected to intimidate separate species, not face a united front. Inside the station, the representatives cheered. For the first time in galactic history, different species had acted together as true equals. An ancient Zixari representative approached Professor Okafor. "I have served on the Council for 300 years, but today I resign to join your alliance. The Council has forgotten its original purpose, to unite the galaxy, not control it." The Zixari handed Okafor a small data crystal. "This contains information the Council has hidden for millennia. The truth about our galaxy's history." As Okafor examined the crystal's contents, her eyes widened. "This changes everything we thought we knew." The Alliance had gained not just new members, but access to secrets that would shake the foundations of the Council's power forever. Captain Chen stared at the holographic display in disbelief. Professor Okafor had shared the contents of the Zixari data crystal with the Alliance leadership. "Is this verified?" Chen asked. The old Zixari, who had introduced himself as Elder Vor, nodded slowly. "I have kept these records hidden for centuries, waiting for the right moment." The truth was shocking. The current Galactic Council weren't the original rulers of the galaxy. 10 million years ago, a truly ancient species called the Architects had created a cooperative galactic community where all species worked together. But the founding members of today's council, led by the Grand Arbiter's ancestors, had overthrown them in a violent rebellion. They erased most knowledge of the Architects and established a system to control all other species. The Council feared any species with creativity and adaptability, explained Elder Vor. They identified humans as dangerous thousands of years ago, when they first observed Earth. That's why they put the containment satellites around our solar system, realized Dr. Mensa. They were afraid of us before we even reached space. Elder Vor pointed to a specific star system on the holographic map. "The last complete archive of architect knowledge is here, in a sealed Zixari temple. With it, we could understand the true potential of all species." Chen looked at Okafor. "We need to reach that archive before the Council realizes what we know." The mission was planned in secret. Captain Chen and Dr. Mensa would lead a small team to the hidden Zixari world, guided by Elder Vor. The Audacity would take them there while Alliance ships created a distraction elsewhere. 3 days later, they entered the ancient temple. It was built of strange crystal that seemed to glow from within. Elder Vor placed his 6-fingered hand on a wall, and a hidden door opened. Inside was a vast chamber filled with technology, unlike anything they had seen before. At its center stood a pillar of light. "The complete knowledge of the Architects," whispered Elder Vor, "untouched for millions of years." Dr. Mensa approached the small console. "These symbols, they're similar to mathematical principles we developed on Earth. The Architects believed that certain species had unique gifts," explained Elder Vor. "Humans have a rare combination of creativity and determination. That's why the Council feared you most of all." As they began downloading the ancient data, an alarm sounded. On the Audacity, Lieutenant Wei's voice came through their communicators. "Captain, Council ships are approaching. They've discovered our location." Chen turned to Mensa. "How much longer?" 10 minutes at least," he replied, working frantically at the console. On the Council's central station, the Grand Arbiter received the report about the Zixari archive. "They cannot be allowed to access that knowledge," he said coldly. "Activate the Harmony Protocol immediately. Target that entire sector." A Council technician looked up in shock. "But sir, our own ships are in that area." "A necessary sacrifice," replied the Arbiter. The old knowledge must remain buried. Back in the archive, Elder Vor suddenly stiffened. They've activated the Harmony Protocol. We have less than 12 hours before it reaches us. Captain Chen's face hardened with determination. Then we have 12 hours to find a way to stop it. News of the activated Harmony Protocol spread across Alliance space. Maya Rodriguez and her team at Workshop Zero worked frantically to understand what they were facing. The protocol uses a network of devices hidden throughout the galaxy, Maya explained on an emergency call with Captain Chen. When activated, they create a wave that disables advanced technology. Anything more complex than simple machines will stop working. How many will die if it succeeds? Asked Chen. Maya's face was grim. Billions. Every space station. Every colony with artificial life support. Every medical facility with advanced equipment. Dr. Mensa joined the call, his eyes bright with excitement despite the danger. Captain, we found something in the Architect archives. The Harmony Protocol has a weakness. He explained that the protocol was designed with perfect mathematical precision. Every calculation was exact, every pattern flawless. But that's also its weakness, said Mensa. It can't handle chaos or true randomness. Maya understood immediately. Of course, rigid systems always fail when faced with enough unpredictability. They worked quickly, developing a counterattack. Maya's team identified the quantum architecture of the protocol, while Mensa applied the architect's knowledge to find its breaking point. With only 2 hours remaining before the Harmony Protocol reached full power, Maya broadcast a message to every Alliance ship. We need all vessels with FTL capability to follow these exact instructions, she said. Your engines must fire in these patterns, creating a quantum interference wave. Chen looked at the complex instructions. These patterns look random. They're not completely random, Maya smiled. That's the human touch, organized chaos. Across Alliance space, thousands of ships prepared to follow the plan. From Earth vessels to alien craft, they all input Maya's unusual engine sequences. On the Council station, alarms blared as technicians noticed the strange activity. Thousands of ships are behaving erratically, reported a technician to the Grand Arbiter. Their engine signatures are fluctuating in unpredictable patterns. Ignore them, ordered the Arbiter. The Harmony Protocol is unstoppable. In 1 hour, their rebellion ends. But as the protocol reached its activation point, something unexpected happened. The carefully balanced quantum fields began to collapse as the seemingly random engine patterns created interference waves. In the Architect archive, Dr. Mensa watched the readings with growing excitement. It's working. The interference is disrupting the protocol. Captain Chen opened a communication channel to the Council station. The Grand Arbiter's face appeared, first confident, then increasingly concerned as reports came in of the protocol's failure. What have you done? He demanded. Chen smiled. When facing annihilation, sometimes you just need to introduce a little chaos. Impossible, the Arbiter shouted. The protocol is mathematically perfect. That's the problem with perfection, replied Chen. It can't handle imperfection. And humans, we're gloriously imperfect. As the Harmony Protocol collapsed completely, the Grand Arbiter watched in disbelief. Chen couldn't resist one final message. You really should have let us improve that system too. Across the galaxy, Alliance ships continued their chaotic dance, turning the Council's ultimate weapon into nothing more than a failed experiment. What was meant to be Armageddon had become instead the moment when the old order truly began to fall. 3 months after the Harmony Protocol failed, the great chamber of the Council station looked very different. The high platform where the Grand Arbiter once looked down on others was gone. In its place was a circular arrangement of seats, all at the same level. Captain Chen stood at the entrance, watching representatives from over 100 species file in. Some were ancient races like the Sixari. Others were younger civilizations experiencing their first taste of true galactic partnership. Quite a change from our first visit, said Professor Okafor, joining her. Chen smiled. Who would have thought that laughing at the council would lead to all this? The former council members had been given a choice: join the new alliance as equals or remain isolated. Most had chosen to join, realizing that the old ways were finished. The Grand Arbiter, however, had refused. He and his most loyal followers had retreated to a distant system, promising that one day the proper order would return. Maya Rodriguez rushed in, late as usual. Her Workshop Zero team had been busy helping species adapt architect technology to solve problems across the galaxy. "Sorry, we just finished installing the new communication network on the Nexori homeworld," she explained. "Their planet can now talk to any system instantly." Dr. Mensa took his place beside Elder Vor, who had become his mentor in studying the architect archives. Together, they were uncovering knowledge that had been hidden for millions of years. As the first session of the new Galactic Assembly began, Professor Okafor addressed the gathered representatives. "Unlike the old council, this assembly has no permanent leaders," she explained. "Leadership will rotate among all member species. No one rules. We all govern together." A small blue alien raised a tentacle. "But surely humans will take the first leadership role. You defeated the council." Captain Chen stepped forward. "No, that's not our way. We don't want to rule. We want everyone to have the freedom to find their own path." Instead, they selected a committee of 6 species, including one former council race, to lead the first year of the assembly. As the meeting continued, Lieutenant Wei hurried in with an urgent message. "A new species has achieved FTL travel," he announced. "They're requesting contact." A ripple of excitement moved through the chamber. The first new civilization to join the reformed galaxy. "Who should we send to greet them?" asked a representative. All eyes turned to the Audacity crew. They had started this revolution with laughter and courage. Chen shook her head. "I think someone else should have that honor." She looked at Maya Rodriguez, perhaps our best engineer. Someone who understands that rules are meant to be broken when they stop making sense. 3 weeks later, Maya, now Captain Rodriguez of the Audacity met the nervous representatives of the new spacefaring species. "What are the protocols for joining galactic civilization?" they asked, clearly expecting a complex process. Rodriguez smiled, remembering how this journey began. "Write your own. That's kind of our thing now." The new arrivals looked at each other in surprise, then began to laugh, just as humans had once laughed at the idea that anyone could tell them how to explore the stars. The galaxy would never be the same again, and that was exactly the point.